The Boston Red Sox are in town for the final series of the first half. They'll take on the Blue Jays in a 3-game series to wrap up just before the All-Star break. Hello, everybody. I'm Buck Martinez, along with Pat Tabler, and welcome to the Rogers Center. The Blue Jays, we all know they can hit home runs. They're leading the majors in home runs. And in taking the series against Minnesota, they hit 10 home runs in a 3-game series. But they, too, can score some runs when they don't knock the ball out of the yard.
Yeah, the Jays showed that they can score runs and come up with big base hits without having to hit a home run. On Wednesday, Vernon Wells, late in the game against Matt Guerrier, sends a ball to deep left center field. It's going to score Jose Bautista with the game-winning run. He comes all the way around from first base to score that run. And then in yesterday's game, Alex Gonzalez with the bases loaded, 2 outs, a 2-strike pitch, sends a ball to right center field. This guy is hitting .371 with runners in scoring position and 2 outs, and he comes up big with another base hit. So the Blue Jays scoring some runs without hitting the ball out of the ballpark. And you look at the numbers, and they show that the home runs are back. The offensive revival has come back. The last 6 games hitting .265. Before that, they averaged just 2 runs in 7 games. So it's nice to see the home runs starting to come back for the Blue Jays.
That is an important part of their offense, and everybody's starting to swing collectively much better. The Boston Red Sox are in town, and they have been plagued by injuries. 11 players on the disabled list right now. They were able to overcome it early, but right now they've lost 4 in a row.
You could form an all-star team with some of the guys the Red Sox have on the disabled list. Victor Martinez was an all-star. He's not going to go. Clay Buchholz the same way. They've got some big-time players on the DL. The starting pitching was doing a good job, but it's really starting to show with the players that are filling in for these all-stars that it's really tough sledding in the AL East.
It certainly is. Anytime you lose that many good players, it's going to be a challenge. And the Blue Jays, they have lost 5 of 6 against Boston this year. They played them tough here at Rogers Center early in the season, lost some tough ball games. But for more on this season matchup, let's go down on the field with Sam Cosentino.
Well, Buck, it's a bad news, good news scenario when you look at the season series as this one gets going against the Red Sox. Cito Gaston said in his pregame meeting with the press that, quite frankly, they've kicked our butts. And the numbers go to bear that out. In the 6 games so far, the Blue Jays have just 1 win. All the numbers skewed in the favor of the Red Sox, except for the home runs. But the good news is for the Blue Jays that Boston has lost 4 straight games. The team ERA uncharacteristically up over 5. They endured a 5-game losing streak back in April with a win tonight. The Blue Jays can tie that for Boston. Another 5-game losing streak. They hope that trend continues here tonight.
A couple of good left-handers go to the mound tonight. John Lester, 52-19 for his career. Ricky Romero trying to turn things around. He's 1-3 against the Red Sox.
Brought to you by your local independently owned home hardware or home hardware building center. Homeowners helping homeowners.
Roof hit. Rogers Center is wide open. Beautiful evening here. It rained most of the afternoon here in Toronto, and it's finally cleared up. Good night for baseball. It has cooled off dramatically over what it has been throughout the week, and it is a very comfortable evening here at Rogers Center. Red Sox in town for the final series of the first half. Blue Jays trying to turn things around against Terry Francona's ball club. Francona's Red Sox won the first 5 games of this season's series before the Blue Jays salvaged the final game in Fenway. Take a look at the Red Sox lineup tonight. Scudero, McDonald, and Ortiz. David Ortiz has come out of nowhere. His last 9 games hit over 300, hitting with some power, driving in runs, and when we saw him in April, he was pinch hit for twice in the series. He was not swinging the bat well. He has got 17 home runs, and David Ortiz's impact is back.
He is the threat in the middle of the lineup now that Terry Francona needs with all the injuries that they have had. That is the lineup that Ricky Romero will face tonight. Romero takes the mound for his 18th and final start before the All-Star break, looking to improve on his last down. And Ricky pitched a season-low 2 2/3 innings versus the Yankees. The last time out, he faced just 18 batters in that game. Allowed a career-high 8 runs, all of them in the 3rd inning in that loss to the Yankees. So he's looking to have some success against the Red Sox. The scouting report for Romero: he gets in trouble when he starts overthrowing the ball, so he needs to stay in his delivery just a little bit longer. And he's got to get the Red Sox batters offering at that changeup. Throw it over the plate. His good stuff will do the rest. The secondary stuff for strikes. The Yankees really worked him for 77 pitches in his 2 2/3 innings. He missed with his off-speed pitches. You can expect the same from the Red Sox tonight.
And Marco Scudero has that approach as he takes the first pitch of the ball game. They will make you throw strikes. 96 hits for Scudero, the former Blue Jay, signed as a free agent in Boston in the offseason. Good curveball. Got a little different approach from Romero. Oftentimes we'll watch him in starts. That curveball won't come into play until the 4th or 5th inning.
Yeah, it might come the second time through the lineup or whatever, but that's the secondary pitches that he has to get over for strikes.
Out in front, 0-2. Turns that fastball down and away. Missed a ball and 2 strikes to the leadoff batter. Ricky Romero 6-5 for the season, 3.39 ERA. Right back to Romero. Underhand toss to Overbay, and Scudero's retired. 1 out.
He's a very athletic pitcher on the mound and makes that play look easy. Defensively, the rest of the crew that Cito Gaston starts tonight: Lewis, Wells, and Bautista in the outfield, Encarnacion, Gonzalez-Hill, and Lyle Overbay over at first base. Again, John Buck behind the plate after a day off yesterday. Vernon Wells was very busy in last night's ball game. 7 putouts in center field. Probably be busy again tonight with this good Red Sox team up.
There's a pop-up out into shallow right field. Aaron Hill out. Jose Bautista calls him off, and he had to make a lunge to catch that thing. Roof is back at Rogers Center, wind blowing, and that ball traveled a little further than Bautista expected.
Had to come a long way for that one. He says, hey, I wanted to get that easy play, an easy fly ball to right field. There's the wind that you were talking about. That'll swirl in the middle of the diamond.
The All-Star Jose Bautista in right calls off Aaron Hill at second. 2 down here in the first for Big Papi, David Ortiz. First pitch strike. Ortiz has put up big numbers against Ricky Romero. He is 6 for 12 with a home run. Average up to 263. Fastball down and in.
You mentioned it in the lineup for the Red Sox. David Ortiz was not the David Ortiz that we have come to know the first time we saw him back in April. pitchers were able to get fastballs by him. He wasn't able to get the head of the bat out. But now he is starting to put up the numbers.
Well, you see on April 30th, hitting under 150. Hit nearly 300 since then with big damage. 16 home runs since the end of April.
And he said, hey, just wait. Everything will be fine. I'll be okay.
Yeah, that's easy for a player to say while the manager's sitting there getting those wins and losses put on his record. I'll be fine. Yeah, he'll be fine.
Got off to a very slow start last year.
Yeah, he sure did.
He didn't hit his first home run till the end of May last year. But he has become a very dangerous hitter again.
2 balls, 2 strikes to David Ortiz. Overbay deep at first base, and he'll go to the bag himself. 1, 2, 3, first inning. Ricky Romero off to a good start. Right-handed bats. Just Fred Lewis and Lyle Overbay, the left-handers, have stayed in the lineup. Jose Molina will DH and bat ninth. In his last 16 games, he's hit nearly 350. Plus, you add to that the fact that he's hit John Lester well. It takes you a long time to find somebody that's hit John Lester well. So when Cito Gaston saw the numbers for Jose Molina, he said, "You're playing tonight, and you're DHing."
Yeah, he gave up just 1 hit the last time he faced the Blue Jays, and he's turned it up a notch after his first 3 starts of the season when he was winless in those first 3 starts. 10-1 with a sub-2 earned run average last 14 outings. That will earn him his first All-Star appearance. His first win of the season came right here against the Jays back on April, dominating them for 7 innings, giving up 1 hit while striking out a season-high 11 batters in that game.
Fred Lewis, the leadoff batter, takes the first pitch outside. Lewis hit a leadoff home run in last night's game, his 3rd leadoff homer of the season. High fastball at 92.
Looking to put another one right there. He is up there for leadoff home runs this season in all of baseball.
Ricky Weeks of the Brewers has 5. He leads all major league hitters, and then Lewis is tied with Martin Prado, the All-Star, and Kelly Johnson, the former Brave, is now playing in Arizona. They all have 3. Good pitch on the outside corner, 2-2. John Lester, we mentioned his record, 52-19 for his career. Phenomenal numbers. Just getting better and better every year. Fly ball into left field. And now McDonald gets turned around but makes a catch. 1 out.
You talk about John Lester, 52-19. Well, why is he 52-19? Well, the first thing I think is because he's big, he's physical. He throws the ball 93, 96 miles an hour. and that really plays out in the American League East. He complements that with a cutter. He's got the curveball and the changeup also, but it's that cutter, I think, that sets him apart from a lot of left-handers. And he maintains his fastball because he's so big and he's strong. He maintains that fastball throughout the ballgame.
Alex Gonzalez jumps on the first pitch. It's a routine fly ball to center field for the Gold Glover Mike Cameron. 2 quick outs.
Cameron makes it look easy in center field still. He'll be joined out there by J.D. Drew and Darnell McDonald with his 5 assists in left field. Beltre Scudero, Paul, and Kevin Youkilis will form the inner defense. Kevin Cash making just his 5th start for the Boston Red Sox, and I think he's going to be a very important player in this series for the Red Sox. They lost their first 2 catchers, Victor Martinez and Jason Varitek, to injuries, so Kevin Cash, I think, becomes very important.
Now, he has been here before. He played for the Red Sox in the past. He knows most of these starters, so they were lucky to get him from Houston. Jose Bautista. Sinking fastball down and away, 0-2. Bautista with one of the 5 Blue Jay home runs in last night's game. Number 23 for him on the season. Came in the 8th inning. Led that inning off. You see Lester work the outside corner very effectively. This is the aspect of his game that has really taken him to the next level. The ability to work both sides of the plate.
When he first came up, he could only do it to one side. Bury that cutter in on those right-handers.
Jason Varitek, the captain of this Red Sox ball club, recognized that right away. Lester had dominance to the glove side, third base side. Now he's got the arm side command as well. Pitched great on the road. Notice he hasn't given up a home run away from Fenway.
And I think 1 to a lefty all season long. He has dominated them.
A ball and 2 strikes. Curveball missed low. Blue Jays want to turn things around against the Red Sox. They're just 1-5. In fact, they lost their first 5 games to Boston before Sean Markham beat them to wrap up a 10-game road trip. Checked his swing.
You know, one thing you don't want to have Lester do is get into that rhythm where he is just pumping strike after strike. We have seen it before here at Rogers Center. When he gets into that mode and he finds that release point, he is awfully tough to square up his pitches.
Bautista draws the walk. A 2-out walk. First base runner of the ball game.
Number 10, Vernon Wells.
Vernon Wells talked about his big hit here on Wednesday night. An RBI double in the 7th inning was the decisive.
pitchers, I think you'll see that because they're learning themselves, they're learning their leagues. Romero, I think, is going to be just fine.
Kevin Youkilis takes a first pitch strike from Romero. Youkilis was on the final ballot for the final man in the American League. Nick Swisher won that. He'll go for the Yankees for the All-Star game.
I say it was the closest ever. Youkilis almost beat out Swisher.
Now it's only fitting a Yankee and a Red Sox would be in a very close vote to go to the All-Star game. Youkilis bounces it to second. Hill got an in-between hop that makes the play, and there's one down here in the second. Ricky Romero, you talk about the roller coaster ride he's been on a little lately. I think it has to do something with the fact that these pitchers have watched the hitters struggle, and they try to help them out by being better. When the offense wasn't scoring many runs, I think the pitchers just tried to shut out the other teams.
And you don't have to. You just have to pitch your game. His start against the Chicago White Sox, his second start of the year, the whole game seemed to come to him. He had 12 strikeouts in that game. He wasn't muscling up on things, his pitches. He wasn't trying to throw the ball by. He was just letting all of his pitches work for him. When he does that, and he's got the good action in the strike zone with all of his pitches, he is extremely tough to hit. Those are the kind of things that young pitchers have to learn about. That you don't have to throw the perfect pitch to get a big league hitter out. You have to set them up and make your pitches in good spots.
Adrian Beltre, a ball on the strike, jumps away from an inside breaking ball. Beltre is having a good season. His first with the Red Sox, batting .334. He's hit 25 doubles and pounded out 12 homers. High fastball, that'll get down and split the outfielders. One hops off the wall. Beltre around first, headed for second. And he continues to swing a red-hot bat for Boston. His 26th double of the season. First hit off Ricky Romero.
He has been hot. He's got power to left center and to right center. It's like he's opening up that stance just a little bit more from the last time we saw him, and that frees up his hands to come right through that strike zone and get that high fastball into the gap in left center field.
So Beltre's at second with one out. The left-handed hitting J.D. Drew will bat. No score here in the second. Fastball for a strike. Red Sox right fielder hitting .279. This offense, boy, has really been hurt not having Pedroia. He might be the most important hitter in their lineup. Out with a broken foot.
You know, he does so many different things for you, Pedroia. He take a walk, hit the ball out of the ballpark, doesn't strike out a lot, gets on base. I think they really missed Jacoby Ellsbury also.
Yeah. A guy that has speed and can do a lot of things on the bases, and certainly a very good leadoff batter.
And we haven't even talked about Victor Martinez, the run producer in the middle of their lineup.
Yeah, it's tough. They've had 11 key injuries. A ball and 2 strikes to J.D. Drew. But how about Pedroia? He's got a broken foot, hobbling around on crutches. He makes road trips. How many guys you know in the big leagues would do that?
I got here at 2:30 today. He was out taking ground balls on his knees at second base. There isn't too many guys who'll do that.
2 balls and 2 strikes, 1 out here in the second. I tell you what, it would be a very difficult game for anybody to play if everybody played like Dustin Pedroia. Be a beautiful game, wouldn't it? Former MVP, Rookie of the Year, heart and soul of the Red Sox. Out with a broken foot. Romero missed down and in with that changeup. Full count to J.D. Drew. They didn't mean to slight Jason Varitek, the captain. He too is on the road trip. He too is wearing a boot on a broken foot. And these guys, this is why this team has been so good for so long. They have the character guys that they lean on, and unfortunately right now they've got two of their key players out.
Terry Francona has talked about that about his team.
Drew strikes out. High fastball gets him.
He's got action on his pitches tonight. Does Ricky Romero. Watch this one. In the strike zone right underneath the bat of J.D. Drew for the second out. That is good to see.
2 down now. Mike Cameron steps in to face Ricky Romero. Base hit center field. Beltre getting away. Wells got a shot. Throws on line. Safe at home. John Buck acted as if he didn't think Beltre tagged home plate, but the home plate umpire, Larry Vanover, indicated safe, which tells you he swiped his hand on home plate.
Yeah, very quickly. He was right on top of that one in great position to make that call. Mike Cameron not waiting around for Ricky Romero. First pitch he sees, bangs it into center field. Because it was hit so hard, Wells has a shot. And he does indeed get that left hand right on the corner of the bag. 2 outs, he is running on anything. Tim Bogar is going to be very aggressive with Beltre. Takes one last glimpse to see where the ball is and scores the first run.
Cameron picks up the RBI, his 12th of the season. Bill Hall, the second baseman, in place of Dustin Pedroia. Two balls and no strikes. John Buck out to talk to Ricky Romero, and he and pitching coach Bruce Walton have a little bit of an idea about these meetings, and he's turned that responsibility over to the catcher.
Yeah, during the game, he's going to go out there and talk with the pitcher. If he sees something, he's going to act like the pitching coach out there, really take control of that staff during the game. Bruce Walton says he has them down in the bullpen during the throw sessions, and the catcher, Molina and Buck, they're going to have them during the game.
2 balls and no strikes, 2 outs here. Top of the second. Fly ball center field. This is going to be trouble. This ball is out of here. Bill Hall has gone deep. A 2-run home run. Number 7 on the season, and the Red Sox lead it 3-0.
Hall is getting to play a lot with all the injuries, and he's showing why the Boston Red Sox think so highly of him. He's a strong guy. He can play different positions. You have to be strong to be able to take a pitch like this up and away and drive that ball to right center field. Just a few years ago, back in 2006, Hall hit 35 home runs with the Milwaukee Brewers, and he shows off that power right there.
Well, that's why you got guys like Bill Hall. When you do have some injuries, you want some experience on your bench, and he has done a good job. Home run number 7 for Hall. Kevin Cash, the catcher, the high 0-2 here. 2 outs. Red Sox have put up a 3 spot here in the second. Cash strikes out on the curveball. But Boston jumps on Ricky Romero. 3 runs on 3 hits and a home run. 3-0 Boston.
2 with a no decision since then. And it started against the Blue Jays. He has put up some fantastic numbers in 12 of those starts, 2 runs or less, which is not a good sign, with the Red Sox scoring 3 in the top of the second.
The Red Sox have lost 4 in a row coming into this game, and John Lester's record is 15-7 after a Red Sox loss. He is truly a stopper. That's what he's trying to do here tonight. John Buck batting in the 5th spot tonight. Swings at the first pitch and pops it a mile high in foul territory. Euclid's the first baseman. Moves under it, 1 out.
Second baseman, number 2, Aaron Hill.
One out. Aaron Hill will face John Lester. Lester shut down the Blue Jays in April on just 1 hit over 7 innings. Blue Jays played a tough series. They lost 13-12, 2-1, and 2-0 in the 3-game series. The ball's in a strike. Curve ball down and in.
Talked to some of the hitters after that series, especially after the game with John Lester on the mound, and I asked them about him. They said, you know what, this guy has taken it to the next level also. His cutter, he's been able to backdoor it now this year. He's always been able to throw it into the right-hander. Lyle Overbay was telling me today that that cutter has been away, but now he is starting it at him to the left-handers and bringing it over the inside part of the plate. So just reinforces what you were saying about pitching to both sides.
3 balls and a strike to Aaron Hill. Swinging a fly ball center field. Not that deep for Mike Cameron, who comes back in 2 down. Well, we'll see now. Lester worked to the left-hander line. Overbay's been swinging a hot bat. And you can bet John Lester is aware of that. Overbay had a home run in last night's game. Came in the 7th inning, leading that inning off, his 10th of the season.
Slowly that batting average is going up for Overbay with production. 10 home runs now, 31 driven in.
Brings on the first pitch.
Here's the home run that you were talking about. And he told me today he thought that was going to be a fly ball. And then at the last second, he said, boy, that center fielder got up and I thought he caught it. He said he started hearing the horn then. He says, good for me. That ball's gone. I can go into my home run trot.
Down and in with an off-speed pitch. Took something off and really kind of surprised Overbay with the movement down and in.
The good pitchers always seem to reinvent themselves or come up with another pitch to surprise good hitters.
No balls and 2 strikes. Breaking ball in the dirt away. Overbay, part of a home run barrage against Minnesota. Blue Jays hit 10 home runs in the Minnesota series over the 3 games. You've seen this dramatic turnaround firsthand, and what do you think the biggest difference is in watching Overbay?
Well, I think he's getting ready. Before, at the beginning of the season, he wasn't real sure of himself. A lot of moving parts in his swing, and another thing is he wasn't he was getting ready a little bit too late. Wasn't seeing the ball. That's what tells me that he wasn't seeing the ball. But now he's aggressive, putting up a pretty good fight here against Lester.
Full count. Worked his way all the way back to a full count. 2 outs here, bottom of the second. Boston scored 3 runs in the top of the inning. including a 2-run home run by Bill Hall. 2-out walk. Good at bat by Overton. Second consecutive inning that John Lester has issued a 2-out walk. Blue Jays get a base runner now for Edwin Encarnacion. That's on the first pitch and fouls it back. What do you think your approach would be facing a guy like John Lester? You were a good hitter and you had an understanding about hitting. How would you attack him?
You know, he's a lefty. He reminds me a little bit of Randy Johnson because he throws so hard. He keeps the ball down. He's got a great breaking ball that he can use for strikeouts.
There's that breaking ball.
I would have to take away, at least early in the count, take away one side of the plate. I would think for a lefty that ball would be coming into me, so I'd look for the ball early in the count. Try and pull on a couple of balls and see if that doesn't change him, and maybe he goes away from me then. But it just take away one part of that plate at the beginning.
Just off the plate inside, a ball and 2 strikes to Encarnacion. And then once you get to 2 strikes,
battle.
Battle.
For the most part, he keeps the ball down, so you can look for the ball somewhere around the knees, around the thigh area. Very rarely, unless he tries to go up there, is the ball above the belt. He's got outstanding control. Very good idea of what he wants to do.
2 balls and 2 strikes to Blue Jays third baseman with 2 outs. Off the plate outside. Lester just missing with his pitches. So it'll be a full count. Overbay at first will be off on the pitch. There are 2 outs. Lester's been all around the plate. Foul down the third baseline. Encarnacion obviously has big power. He has 10 home runs.
And he is a low ball hitter, too. Lester likes that ball down. He likes to throw that cutter in on right-hander. Encarnacion's swing plane really matches up well with Lester.
Broken batting to left field, and McDonald is there to make the grab. Blue Jays get a base runner, but can't do anything with it. Boston leads it 3-0. June 25th against the Giant, Jonathan Sanchez throws it down and in, and Pedroia, he wears that shin guard on the inside of his left leg, but it hit on the foot, and suffered a fractured bone, and he is sporting the crutches and still trying to help his team. That's got to be a great feeling to know that there's your guy right there with you. He and Veritek both traveling around the country on crutches.
In uniform on the bench, right there with you.
Scudero gets a base hit through the left side of the infield to start things off here in the third. Four hits now for Boston.
Scudero just does what he does, gets on base. Last year, his on-base percentage for Toronto was about .380. It's a little bit down this year, right around .340, but still gives you good at-bats, plays solid defense, and seems like he's always on base.
Darnell McDonald popped up his first time up. McDonald's a former #1 pick of the Orioles. Bounced around in the minor leagues, and we saw him early on. He scored a run and drove in a run in Luster's 2-0 win in April here at Rogers Center. That was the series finale of that 3-game sweep.
You never know when you put your team together in spring training where guys are going to fit in or where they're going to help you along the way. With all the injuries that the Boston Red Sox have had, I'm sure they're very happy that they went out and picked up a McDonald. Darnell McDonald originally was going to be in Pawtucket, play in their minor league system.
Miguel Romero keeping his eye on Scudero. Scudero is not a big base stealer. There's 2 stolen bases this year. Little looper behind second base. That's going to get down. Scudero goes around second. He's headed for third. Wells gets it back. And McDonald has a little flare into center field. First and third, nobody out.
Veteran approach. Not trying to do too much with that ball. McDonald playing some good ball for the Red Sox. First and third, nobody out. Just loop that ball out into the outfield and get that runner over to third.
Set the table for the big guys. David Ortiz grounded to first base to end the first inning. Ortiz with 55 RBI. Good fastball. Ortiz big cut. Last time the Blue Jays saw David Ortiz on May 12th. He was hitting .185 with 4 homers and 11 ribbies. A little bit different hitter right now. No balls and a strike. Key for Romero now not to get frustrated here early in this ball game. Just continue to make your pitches well, and stay in your delivery.
Yeah, he gave up those 8 runs in that big inning back in New York a couple of days ago.
Bounced and blocked by John Buck.
You know, felt like if he had made a pitch here or the defense had picked him up there, that really would have limited the run scored in that inning. And that is something that the Blue Jay pitchers have done a really good job of this year. They find themselves in problems, but they pitch their way out of it.
2 balls and a strike to David Ortiz. Tough pitch. Looked like a pretty good pitch upstairs. Romero thought it was a strike.
I think David Ortiz thought it was a strike. John Buck thought it was a strike. That looked like a pitch that was about belt high in the middle of the plate.
But it's a ball, and now it's a 3-1 count. Nobody out. Runners at the corners. Scudero single to left to start the inning. Darnell McDonald hit a little broken bat, base hit into center. Red Sox are up 3-0. Full count. Mayer made a pretty good pitch on the outside part of the plate.
The defense is not in that shift mode. With a couple of runners on, they usually have 3 infielders on the right side. Straight up now looking for that ground ball double play. I know Ortiz is thinking one thing right here. Try to pull something to the right side. Big hole on the right side.
3 balls and 2 strikes. John Buck couldn't hang on to it. Good fastball from Romero, but Ortiz stays alive. First and third, nobody out. Walked him. Bases are loaded. So Ortiz draws the walk. Kevin Youkilis will bat with the bases loaded and nobody out.
Identical numbers for Youkilis with Ortiz. 17 home runs, 55 driven in. He's always been a very good RBI man. He'll work the count also.
Here's where he'll jump on the pitch. First pitch swinging. Good fastball. Gets Youkilis to miss. Red Sox threatening. Youkilis has a grand slam. Hitting over 300 with the bases loaded. That's where he's hitting right now. Bases loaded, nobody out. Ricky Romero trying to get out of this jam. Excuse me, check swing, foul ball. Romero out in front 0-2.
He does get a little bit more aggressive with runners on. Very rarely do you see Youkilis check his swing like that on a pitch out of a strike zone.
The appeal down to Jeff Kellogg at first. He said no swing. Youkilis checked and laid off that changeup. Youkilis has such great plate coverage, and I'm sure Ricky Romero's trying to figure out where to go here. The ball and 2 strikes. Left field, Fred Lewis on the run. He'll make the catch. Tagging at third is Scudero. He'll come in to score. Youkilis picks up the sac fly. It's 4-0 Boston.
He's got a very unique stance when he's at the plate, and you think you can get a fastball in on him because he stands so close together with his feet, his bat head very high, held very high. It looked like Romero tries to go in there, but Youkilis is very quick. Had a very quick bat. Was looking for extra bases, but has to settle for a sac fly.
1 down now for Beltre, who hit a double to the gap in left center. Came around and scored on Mike Cameron's 2-out single. Ricky Romero's had a tough time against the Red Sox. His ERA is over 7 for his career against them. He is 1-3 in 5 starts against Boston.
Coming into this game, 22 innings in his career versus the Red Sox, 33 hits.
3 balls and no strikes to Beltre. 1 run in here in this inning. Euclid drove it in with a sac fly to left. Bases are loaded again. This time Bruce Walton will come out and talk to Ricky Romero if he can't get him back on track here in the 3rd inning.
Not a whole lot you can do like that. There is going to be some movement down in the bullpen for Blue Jays. Brian Talent picks up the ball and he starts to get loose. One of the things that they are working on, as you see Bruce Walton talk to Romero, is just, hey, you don't have to throw it by him. Just stay together, make your pitches. First inning, he had great action on his ball. He had a 1-2-3 inning. They didn't hit the ball hard at all.
Now, this is the aspect we have talked about with several of these young starters for the Blue Jays. The inexperience in wanting to turn things around dramatically.
Yeah.
One pitch, one good inning, just muscle your way through things, and that doesn't work very often. J.D. Drew takes the first pitch down and away. Drew struck out on a fastball his first time up. Ground ball to Overbay. He's going to come home, and John Buck can't help him out. Can't dig it out of the dirt. Overbay had the right idea. McDonald would have been out of the plate had he made a good throw, but he bounced it and handcuffed John Buck.
Yeah, he wasn't going to turn 2 on that, so you've got to come home and try and stop the bleeding that way. No chance to turn it up a play on this one. He back up. He makes the throw. It looked like it might have short hop Buck out in front of home plate. Tough for a catcher to keep that right foot on the plate and then try and dig a ball that is up in front. It short hops Buck right there, and he just can't come up with it.
All the while trying to maintain contact with home plate and just couldn't pick that short hop. Bases are still loaded. Mike Cameron had an RBI single. Red Sox lead at 5-0. No swing down at first on the appeal. 2 balls and no strike. Romero continues to fall behind these Red Sox hitters here in the 3rd.
Yeah, and the Red Sox hitters continue not to swing at pitches just off the plate. They've done it for many, many years, these veteran hitters.
Cameron lays off the high fastball. Three balls and no strikes, 1 out. Top of the 3rd inning. Bases loaded, walk. Cameron will pick up another RBI. The Red Sox lead at 6-0. And that's going to be it for Ricky Romero. There's the call to the bullpen for Brian Talent. Ricky Romero will have back-to-back starts in which he doesn't get out of the 3rd inning. Disappointing start for Ricky Romero here in the opener of the Red Sox series. Boston out in front 6-0. base runner. So far, he's given up 5 earned runs. Disappointing loss on the heels of a 2 2/3 inning outing against the Yankees last time out. Brian Talent, the left-hander, will come on and try to settle things down here in the 3rd inning.
The long man out of the bullpen for Cito Gaston. Talent makes the appearance here. There are his numbers. The first batter he will face is Bill Hall with the bases loaded and just 1 out.
Fastball down and in for a strike. 2-run home run came in the 2nd. A long home run over the wall in right center. Opposite field. Another drive to center field. Vernon Wells will have room. Adrian Beltre tagging at 3rd. Drew tags up, moves over to 2nd. From 2nd to 3rd, and Beltre has scored the 7th Red Sox run.
Hall's going to drive in his 3rd run already in 3 innings. That run gets charged to Ricky Romero on the sac fly, the 2nd sacrifice fly this inning.
Red Sox have had 2 sac flies, a fielder's choice for an RBI, and a bases loaded walk. That's led to 4 here in the 3rd. Kevin Cash, runners at 1st and 3rd. Takes a pitch up for a ball. Pop back over the screen.
Really have to hand it to the Red Sox batters. All the injuries that they've had, but boy, they come out here, they still stick to their game plan. They look like the same old Red Sox. Battling you every at bat. Hall and Cameron and Drew, McDonald and now Cash.
Another pop back behind home. Yeah, it really doesn't look like they're any different, just the different names, but the approach has been very consistent. Dave Magadan's the hitting coach for the Red Sox, and this is the way this club is hit. There's Magadan sitting on the cooler.
Number 1 in the American League in runs scored. With every injury and all the problems, they still lead the American League in runs scored.
And that certainly is going to be challenging for Youkilis and Ortiz to pick up the slack when you lose some of your key run producers like Victor Martinez and Dustin Pedroia. 2 balls and 2 strikes inside, another full count. So the runner at 1st, Mike Cameron, will be off on the pitch. J.D. Drews at 3rd. Another walk. Bases loaded again. So the Red Sox will bat around here in the 3rd inning. Marco Scudero got it started. It's a frustrating thing to watch for Cito Gaston. He talked about it at the pregame press conference, how the Red Sox have just kicked their tail so far. Boston has won 5 of the 6 first games this season. Scudero singled and scored to start the inning. Red Sox came into this game having lost 4 in a row. They were swept by Tampa Bay. And they had lost 4.5 games in the standings as both the Rays and the Yankees are on 6-game winning streaks.
Yeah, battled their way to like a game behind the Yankees with this squad. Lost the series that you talked about with Tampa.
Line drive into center. That'll get down, and 2 runs are going to come in to score. Drew, and right behind him, Mike Cameron. And Scudero has a couple of hits in the inning. It's 9-0 Red Sox.
Fall behind good hitters, they're going to make you pay for it. Marco Scudero with that short little swing into center field will pick up a couple of RBIs. Watch how he stays back. Short swing, not trying to do too much with that ball. Single to left field to start off this inning, and now a 2-run single to center.
Darnell McDonald had a base hit earlier in the inning, cuts on a breaking ball and misses. McDonald, the 11th man to bat here for Boston in the 3rd inning. Down and in, evens the count at 1-1. Big swing and a miss. Ricky Romero's line has now been completed. Cameron scoring was his final batter, and all 9 runs will be charged to Ricky Romero. In his last 2 starts, New York and Boston has scored, both those teams scored 17 runs in the 3rd inning. A ball and 2 strikes. Broken bat at Tim Bogart, the 3rd base coach. Couldn't get out of the way in time. That's why they wear their helmets.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And you can see he is out of the coach's box because he's got to try and get an angle for that runner at second base. Any hit to the outfield, to center field, or to left field, he wants to get a look at where that outfielder is in relationship to his base runner. That's why he is closer to home plate. Makes it awfully dangerous when you got a right-handed hitter up there.
1 ball and 2 strikes. Bounced in the dirt. 2-2. Not exactly the kind of start Blue Jays were looking for in the first game of this 3-game series.
Now trying to get some momentum heading into the All-Star break against a team within your division who is ahead of you and a team that's been struggling. You mentioned the sweep to the Tampa Bay Rays. They also lost a game against the Baltimore Orioles at home to set them off on this 4-game losing streak.
Full count now to McDonald. 2 outs, 2 on. The runners will be off on the pitch. Popped up over near the right side, and Overbay runs out of room. But we'll do it again, and it'll be another full count pitch. McDonald single to center field earlier this inning.
There is something about the 3rd inning against the Yankees and the Red Sox the last 2 times. Ricky Romero has gone out. 42 pitches alone this inning for the Blue Jays.
Base hit left field. Cash will come around 3rd. He's going to score. Scudero headed to 3rd. Throw goes into 2nd. And McDonald has his 2nd hit of the inning. Kevin Cash scores. It is 10-0 Boston.
Three and two outs. You know what's coming. You're a right-handed batter off of a left-hander. You're just looking for the ball. He doesn't want to walk you. And McDonald picks up his 2nd hit. Scudero has 2 hits this inning. Another RBI. Another run scored, and it's a 7-run inning.
David Ortiz to face Brian Talbot. Breaking ball outside. outside, 2-0. Two balls and no strikes. 2 outs here in the 3rd inning. Popped out. Encarnacion into foul territory. And makes the grab, and finally the Red Sox are retired. But they score 7 runs in the 3rd inning. John Lester staked to a big lead.
In the 3rd innings for Ricky, which will be his career low now. While we were away, they made a scoring change, so 6 earned runs. Lyle Overbay was charged with an error on that J.D. Drew ground ball, so 6 earned runs, just 5 hits and 3 walks.
Jose Molina takes the first pitch strike from John Lester. Popped out of play. 0-2. Molina in the DH spot tonight. Jose's been swinging a hot bat. Had 2 hits, including his first home run of the season in last night's game. So Cito Gaston put him in the DH spot.
Makes a lot of sense, too, when you look at his numbers. A .385 hitter in his career. He'll probably catch tomorrow afternoon with Brandon Morrow on the mound. Day game after a night game, so why not give him some at-bats against Lester? John Lester picks up his first strikeout of the night, getting Molina.
Fred Lewis lined out to left field to start his night. Takes a fastball away. Two balls and no strikes. Blue Jays obviously a long way to come back.
Yeah. And I guess the game plan right now is, okay, figure out a way to get John Lester out of this game. He has been so dominant against the Blue Jays his last few starts. Maybe make him throw pitches and they'll get 5 innings out of him, 6. I'm not sure, but get him out of the game and take your chances on the bullpen.
Down and away. That evens the count at 2-2. Well, Lester, obviously a workhorse. You look at his innings of work this season and what he's done. Harry Francona might have the option of getting him out of there early. Lewis strikes out, a fastball away. Back-to-back strikeouts for Lester here in the third.
Coming right along, he strikes out Molina and then gets Lewis up in the strike zone for his second strikeout. He has averaged about 7 innings every time he takes the mound.
First pitch strike. That's what you could expect from John Lester. Got a 10-0 lead. Alex Gonzalez fouls off the changeup. 0-2. I always found this was challenging for a catcher in a situation like this. When your pitcher's got a big lead, you still have to make him work. Just make sure he uses all his pitches and just doesn't stand out there and fire nothing but fastballs. High fastball gets Gonzalez. Cash holds on for the strikeout. John Lester responds by striking out the side in the third. Jose Molina.
Brought to you by your local independently owned home hardware or home hardware building center. Homeowners helping homeowners.
Kevin Youkilis takes the ball on the first pitch from Brian Talent. 2 balls and no strikes. Red Sox have really been patient at the plate, and they've had the count in their favor all night long. Three-0.
Yeah, on top of being the #1 scoring team in the American League, they are second in on-base percentage, third in base on balls, #1 in RBIs. I think them and the Yankees were the first two teams to start we're going to take a lot of pitches and get that starter out there early and really bang on your bullpen.
Foul back out of play. Well, when you go back to the Chuck Knobloch edition of the Yankees, that's when it really started in my mind, where he came over, hit their leadoff spot, took a lot of pitches, worked the count, that kind of spread up and down in the order.
Moved on to Jeter. Jeter started acting like that in the #2 hole. Same thing with the Red Sox when Youkilis came aboard.
Full count. Driven down the left field line. This ball is over the wall. A line drive home run for Kevin Youkilis, #18 on the season.
That ball was a low liner that just barely cleared the wall in left.
End of the game in Tampa with a line drive like that to center field for the final out. But this time gets the head out, the head of the bat. Watch it come through the zone and gets on top of it with some topspin too. Line drive just over the wall for his 18th home run.
Taking over the lead in home runs for the Red Sox. And breaking ball, Beltre with the big cut. Kevin Youkilis, 2 RBI tonight. He now has 57 driven in. Deep fly ball center field. Vernon Wells on the run, and he is not going to get it. This ball goes out of the ballpark. Adrian Beltre goes deep to center field. Back-to-back home runs for the Red Sox.
That's the Adrian Beltre I remember with Seattle. Taking the ball to right field. Also when he played for the Dodgers. Power to all fields. Left center, right center. Cito Gaston quickly gets on the phone. Doubled his first time up, walked, and then this monster shot to right center field.
Third time the Red Sox have gone back-to-back this season. Hermida Veritek at Kansas City in April, and then Youkilis and Victor Martinez in May at New York. A ball and a strike to J.D. Drew. (12-0) Boston. Casey Jansen begins to throw down in the Blue Jays bullpen. Cito Gaston was hopeful that he might be able to get some length out of Brian Talent.
He has started some games for the Blue Jays this year. Coming out of the bullpen, his longest stint was 5 innings for Talent.
Check in with Sam Cosentino.
Well, Buck, Talent found himself in this very situation on Saturday. Cito Gaston asked him after a couple of innings if he wanted to come out. Talent said, no, I want to eat up the innings and help you save the guys in the bullpens. He has a ton of respect for the guy out there right now.
He is just trying to strengthen the bullpen by not having Cito Gaston go down in that pen early. This is the first game of a 3-game series, and you just don't know what you're going to get the rest of the series. So you hate to go down and burn up those bullpen innings early. J.D. Drew out in front of a breaking ball, grounds to second base, and he is retired. One out here in the 4th inning.
Point well taken on eating up the innings and trying to get some length in that bullpen. Bullpens are put together now with a lot of 1-inning guys or situational guys. You don't see those teams with a starter, a former starter, or a long man who can give you 4, 5, 6 innings anymore out of the bullpen.
Yeah, he used to have a long man, a middle man, a couple of setup guys, and then the closer. But now you have an awful lot of teams with 1-inning pitchers, and that's difficult.
Or specialists.
Yep.
Situational type pitcher where it's okay, you get these 2 lefties and then you're done, and then we'll use the 7 guys out of the bullpen, and we'll use them often. I guess the only team that I can think of offhand that has a true long man would be Tampa Bay, Andy Sonnenstein.
Yeah, a starter, former starter, part of their World Series rotation. Now he works out of that bullpen, and it's a difficult job because you sit around and, you know, unless you have to go to the bullpen early, not going to get a chance to pitch.
Well, it's just like a hitter who sits around for a week and then is asked to go up there and face a John Lester or somebody like that to be successful.
But the only way you can change your position on the team is have success in those situations. High drive left field, and this ball is gone. Mike Cameron, a perfect night at the plate, has just hit his 3rd home run of the season. And the fans are waving the white flag. Cito Gaston checking on the status of Casey Janssen. The Red Sox have hit 4 home runs here tonight, 3 in this inning.
Just the 3rd home run, like you said, from Cameron, but it's a pitch out away from it, and somehow he duck hooks that ball and gets some length and some distance. Ball is gone. Brian Tallett's night is over.
Red Sox have jumped all over the Blue Jays here early in this game. 13 runs on 10 hits. Casey Janssen will try to slow things down.
Casey Janssen.
And 3 home runs. Now Casey Janssen, the 3rd pitcher to pitch here tonight for the Blue Jays. Janssen pitched an inning in last night's game. Had a good inning, allowed a base hit, got a double play, and had a 3-up, 3-down inning.
He needs some quick innings. A lot of first pitch strikes, a lot of first pitch outs now. Blue Jays need 9 innings. 7 innings from their bullpen tonight.
Bill Hall has homered here tonight. His 7th home run of the season. He also had a sac fly. Bouncing ball to short. Gonzalez dug out of the dirt by Overbay. Hall's retired, 2 down. Kevin Cash walked and scored in the 3rd inning. Takes a first pitch down. Swing and a miss, 1-1. Breaking ball. A ball and 2 strikes.
Jansen's got to give him some length. His season high in innings pitched this year was 3. Did that against Texas earlier this year. At least 3 innings tonight from Casey.
Just missed with the slider. Yeah, you get in position as a manager trying to figure out how you're going to piece this thing together now. You're already too deep into your bullpen. We're still in the 4th inning. Ground ball to third. Big hop for Encarnacion. And Cash is retired to end the 4th inning. But the Red Sox score 3 more runs on 3 home runs. Kevin Youkilis, number 18. Adrian Beltre, his 13th. And Mike Cameron gets into the act. He hits his 3rd home run of the season. Boston leads it 13-0. Joseph Brent Hospital in Burlington, Ontario. Had a great opportunity to sit close to the field and watch the action. There's been a lot of action. Unfortunately, it's been from the bats of the Boston Red Sox. They lead it 13-0 here.
And the arm of John Lester also comfortably ahead now by 13.
Jose Bautista takes a fastball outside.
And with that big lead, Terry Francona is going to rest some of his starters. Marco Scudero out of the game. That's Eric Patterson on the right side. He moves in at second, and Bill Hall slides over to play some shortstop.
A chance just to get your regulars out of the game early on with the big lead. Bautista pops it up. New left fielder is Daniel Nava. He comes on, takes over in left. McDonald moves from left to right, and with that, J.D. Drew is out of the game. Two balls and 2 strikes to Jose Bautista here in the 4th inning. Pops it up. Right side, Kevin Youkilis goes into foul territory. Calls for it, makes the catch. Bautista's retired. John Lester on cruise control here. Blue Jays still looking for their first hit of the ball game. Last time they faced Lester, he held them to 1 hit over 7 shutout innings. Red Sox won that game 2-0 and swept the Blue Jays.
21 at bats in that game by the Blue Jays. The one hit was a double by Vernon Wells. At the plate now.
Wells has the count in his favor. 2 balls and no strikes. Long drive down the left field line. If it's fair, it's gone. It is a foul ball. Out in front, just hooked it into foul territory.
Certainly looked like when it left the bat that it was going to be fair. This angle will show it. The ball's hooking down the left field line. Still looks like it's fair. Still looks like it's fair. And at the last second, just hooks foul. Third base umpire Mark Carlson getting some help from Adrian Beltre and Daniel Nava, the left fielder.
Tried again down the left field line. Nava will grab it just on the warning track. Wells hit it on the line, but Nava makes a fine running catch. 2 down here in the 4th.
You were talking earlier about the great winning percentage that John Lester has. Well, if you go out and look at all the other numbers that he has put up over the last 3 seasons, they're spectacular.
Everything about his game. Right back up the middle. There's the first base hit of the game for the Blue Jays. A single off the bat of John Buck.
Lester thought he should have had that ball. Looked like he reached his glove out there to field that one hopper and just whiffed on it. First pitch swinging John Buck. There it is, and he just missed it. Just got by him for the first hit.
2-out base hit. Aaron Hill takes a strike. Breaking ball. Swings over the top of 0-2. Lester missed down and away. A ball and 2 strikes on Aaron Hill. Blue Jays just the 1 hit off the bat of John Buck. Bounced foul. You wonder, the Red Sox came in here on a 4-game losing streak. We talked about how physically beaten up the ball club was. They have 11 players on the disabled list. Harry Francona done a pretty good job of keeping this Red Sox team afloat. Coming into play tonight, 49-36. But they've lost 4.5 games in the standings to the front-running Yankees. Line to the shortstop, Bill Hall. Aaron Hill's retired. John Lester in a breeze. Just 1 hit for the Blue Jays. to an end as John McDonald comes in to play shortstop. Eric Patterson in the leadoff spot will bat for the first time tonight. He came on defensively at second base.
We saw Eric Patterson earlier this season with the Oakland A's. And with the injuries to Pedroia and the rest of the infielders, Red Sox went out and picked up Patterson from Oakland. Got him back right at the end of June. And hasn't he turned out, at least temporarily, a different player than the one we saw with Oakland?
Done a nice job as far as filling in this situation. They had to go down deep into their depth chart. A ball and a strike. Patterson lays off the fastball.
He has had 6 hits with Boston. He had a multi-homer game the other day down in Tampa.
Two balls and 2 strikes. Up and away. Got a lot of full counts here tonight.
Yeah.
Red Sox have made the Blue Jays pitchers work. Fouled off the glove of John Buck. Well, lots of news around baseball today. Rumors and speculation about Cliff Lee. First, we thought he was going to the Yankees. That deal fell through, and he ended up going to the Texas Rangers.
How about that?
Pretty interesting. We'll talk about that. Strikeout. Casey Jansen, a little extra on the fastball, strikes out Eric Patterson to start the 5th.
Jansen worked in yesterday's game, did not have a strikeout. One of the few times that he has not come into a game and it struck out at least one batter. Gets him here. Good hard fastball about letter high.
Darnell McDonald. A couple of hits tonight.
Yeah, I was reading the paper today that it was pretty much a foregone conclusion that Cliff Lee was going to go to the Yankees. That was it. And if that was true, holy moly, who was going to beat the Yankees with that pitching staff, huh?
Good breaking ball. Yeah, that was the talk, even late in the afternoon. Just around batting practice, there was a lot of talk, hey, it's a done deal. The Yankees are going to trade Jesus Montero, the catcher, to New York. And then we heard some talk that maybe the Seattle ownership group said that's not enough. And they pulled the deal off the table.
Well, I'm sure it wasn't 1-for-1. I'm sure that there had to be some other players involved for going from the Yankees to Seattle.
Yeah, and you know, Montero there's some question as to whether or not he's a legitimate catching prospect. He's probably going to hit. Good breaking ball. 2 balls and 2 strikes on McDonald. But Cliff Lee and Mark Lowe, a reliever, go to the Texas Rangers for Justin Smoke, big first base prospect with some upside. And 3 minor league prospects as well. So now Texas really becomes a legitimate World Series contender in my mind.
Yeah, they are a player. They have the largest lead of any team in baseball in the American League West.
Fly ball left field. Fred Lewis on the run. Vernon Wells coming over from center, and Lewis will make the catch just short of the warning track. Two outs here in the 5th. Boston leads it 13-0. They have hit 4 home runs here tonight. David Ortiz 0 for 2 with a run scored. Ground ball. Aaron Hill has plenty of time, and Ortiz will be retired. Good inning by Casey Jansen. 1, 2, 3, 5th inning. Short outing. His earned runs are dropped to 5. The scorer has reversed his early decision. John Lester continues to pitch very well against the Blue Jays.
Great earned run average, just 5 wins and 8 decisions. Tonight he is in cruise control with this big lead.
Red Sox continue to rest the regulars. Ryan Shealy comes in to play first base in place of Kevin Youkilis. A ball and a strike to Lyle Overbay. Good curveball. A lot of depth on that breaking ball.
Yeah, it's pretty nasty when you can start it right at the batter like that and sweep it down and away from him. He gets ahead of you 0-1. He has that knack of putting you away.
Overbay continues to swing the bat aggressively. Spoils a pretty good pitch. Inside corner for a strike. Overbay gets that breaking ball. That's the pitch you had talked about earlier in the game. Now John Lester, a new dimension to attack left-handed hitters.
Yeah, it's usually away with that cutter. This one he starts right at the hip of Lyle Overbay, and it comes over the inside part of the play. Watch this one, right on the inside corner for a strike. Awfully tough for a hitter if you have the ability to do that with your baseball.
Well, and you're protecting that outside half of the plate, and you're wanting to lean out over the plate, and then you see that ball inside, you give up on it. You can't even swing at it. Edwin Encarnacion with 1 out here in the 5th. Curveball bends around the plate.
Looked up some of the numbers on Lester when he jumps ahead of hitters. But I like doing that. I'm seeing with pitchers what they do when they jump ahead, or do they have that ability to put them away? Well, if Lester gets a count of 0-1 on you, batters are hitting 132 against him this year. He has given up just 26 hits all season long after he's jumped ahead 0-1 on batters. That tells you the type of stuff that he has and that ability to put you away.
Long drive, but that's going to hook foul off the seats in the upper deck. Boy, he drilled it, but it was well fouled. Well, you mentioned there's big ace pitchers, how they get you down and they'll step on your neck, and that's what John Lester does. He never lets you back into an at-bat. Down and in for the strikeout.
Finish it off. That's what he does. A good slider, a good cutter. This one a little bit lower after that long fly ball out. And Encarnacion goes after it. 5th strikeout tonight for John Lester. All of them coming in the last couple of innings.
Struck out the side in the 3rd. And now he has K'd the first 2 batters here in the 5th. Jose Molina was a strikeout victim. Boy, that cutter is devastating right now. He can't pick up the spin. Looks like a fastball and then just disappears.
Yeah, it certainly does, especially if you establish that fastball down low. And we have seen Lester do that tonight. Establish the fastball down and then double up with a cutter like that. It's awfully tough to lay off of it.
Molina stays alive. Blue Jays been able to scratch out just 1 hit against John Lester here tonight. Ball in the dirt. Lester's not very pleased with his location right now, even though he's struck out the first 2 batters in this inning. Make it 3. Second time tonight, John Lester has struck out the side. He has 6 strikeouts. Gets Lyle Overbay with this inside cutter. Comes front door. Then Edwin Encarnacion down and in for the strikeout. And finally, Jose Molina swings at a fastball.
Mike Lowell with the right hip. Then we've got Pedroia left foot, Veritek right foot. Let's not forget Buchholz with the bad hammy and Josh Beckett with the lower back. Yet they're still competing pretty good here tonight.
A good job, Sammy. That really explains exactly the location of the injuries, and a lot of tough tough injuries. I mean, that pulled hand, not strains and not day-to-day injuries, fractured bones and ribs.
First of all, I thought those were Band-Aids. Were those Band-Aids that he had on there?
Probably. Ryan Shaley hits the ground ball to the second baseman, Aaron Hill, and he is retired in his first at-bat tonight.
But you're right. They're not something that they're going to be back in 2 days or 3 days or, like you say, day-to-day. They're 8 weeks, 6 weeks, those type of problems.
How about players coming back after missing 6-8 weeks in the second half of the season? How challenging is that for position players?
How about the position players who can't really keep their legs underneath them? If you break your leg, how do you stay in shape? You can't. And if you are out for 8 weeks, that's 2 months of baseball. It's going to take you at least 2 weeks to get back into playing shape. At least 2 weeks. Then you throw in a rehab stint, and now you're talking September, middle of September.
Oh, absolutely. By the time you get to build your strength up with those broken feet, both for Veritek and Pedroia. Bouncing ball wide of third. Different story for Victor Martinez. He can ride a bike. He's got a broken thumb. He can ride a bike, keep his legs in shape, but still the timing as far as hitting is really going to be challenged.
That's the other thing. I mean, when you have your boot on, if you have a broken foot, you can't do anything. Maybe throw a little bit and keep your arm in shape. Can't hit. Can't run.
And because of that, you lose your muscle tone. Then you got to start from scratch. A ball and 2 strikes, 1 out. And Beltre lays off the outside breaking pitch. Pretty good bat for Beltre. He's been swinging the bat well all night long. He's got a double, walk, and hit his 13th home run.
Made a habit of that, going down to his back knee, driving balls out of the ballpark. He's always had fantastic talent. Good hands, good swing, good strong bat.
Lets this one into right field. Bautista having trouble. Now he's got it. Locates it and makes the catch. 2 outs. You can enjoy the rest of the 2010 baseball season with MLB.TV. Watch out of market games live or on demand in HD quality. Packages are $79.95 for the remainder of the season. For information, you can visit BlueJays.com for all the details. And now you can log on to MLB.TV and watch Cliff Lee pitch for the Rangers. I would imagine there's going to be some more second half deals as teams are trying to put together their ball clubs for the pennant drive. After the All-Star break, before that trade deadline, we'll probably see some more big names move.
Sometimes you see those kind of moves just make the other teams really want to go out there and maybe overspend to counteract what somebody did.
Daniel Nava batting for the first time. Came on defensively in the 4th inning. And if you recognize that name, Daniel Nava hit a grand slam in his first major league at bat. One of the guys that's been called upon with all the injuries, and boy, he had a storybook at bat. His first major league at bat, a home run with the bases loaded.
How about that? Won some games behind him. They've also won some games with McDonald. Doing some stuff. Darnell McDonald, Eric Patterson had that huge series down in Tampa.
2 balls and a strike. Breaking ball down and in. Nava's really an interesting story. He went to the University of Santa Clara, tried to make their baseball team. He was cut from the team and stayed on as the manager, the equipment manager of a college team. Loved playing so much he wanted to stay around the ball club. Eventually earned the right to play. Played independent ball, and now he's here with the Red Sox. Down and in, full count.
And in his first game, first at bat.
Grand slam. At Fenway Park, of all places.
Instant status, hero status in Fenway.
Full count, 2 outs. Slice down the left field line and out of play. Casey Jansen, the third Blue Jays pitcher to work here tonight. Ricky Romero started last year, just 2 1/3. Brian Tower pitched an inning. Jansen now has worked 2 2/3. There's the walk. A 2-out walk to Daniel Nava. Now bring Mike Cameron to the plate. Cameron, he's had a big night at the plate. He's scored 3 runs. He's driven in 3 runs. And he's 2 for 2 with a walk. Cameron signed as a free agent, and they immediately put him in center field and moved Jacoby Ellsbury to left. Swings at a breaking ball.
He's always been a great outfielder. And playing in Fenway Park, even though he's 36 years old, they figured that he'd be okay out there, and then move Ellsbury to left field and nothing would fall. But he got injured early in the season along with Jacoby Ellsbury, and the Red Sox have been scrambling to find outfielders, healthy outfielders, all season long.
They lost Jeremy Hermida with broken ribs as well, just like Ellsbury. Cameron was out with a lower abdominal strain. He missed 34 games. A ball and a strike on Mike Cameron. Good slider down and away. Cameron is a former All-Star, 2001 with the Mariners. Made the All-Star team. He has 3 Gold Gloves. The Gold Glove in 01 and 03 with Seattle, and in 2006 with the Padres, he won his 3rd Gold Glove. 2 balls and 2 strikes. 2 outs here in the 6th. You might expect this would be the last inning for Casey Jansen. David Percy loosening up. Percy pitched a good inning in last night's game, worked the 9th inning, and had a 1-2-3 ninth with a strikeout.
Yeah, and get a couple of innings out of him tonight, and then they're just about done. Piecing this one together to finish it out.
Into right field, that'll get down in front of Bautista. Now around second, headed for third, and Mike Cameron has his 3rd hit of the night. Went with that breaking ball down and away from Jansen, just stroked it into right.
He scored 3 runs tonight, driven himself in with a home run. Been doing that for a long time. Just poked it into right field off of Casey Jansen. Fell behind and then battled him.
Big John Buck and Casey Jansen trying to put their heads together, get out of this inning. Red Sox have now collected 11 hits. 4 of those 11 hits, home runs. Bill Hall has 1 of those home runs. Hall has driven in 3 tonight. Breaking ball for a strike. Red Sox scored 3 in the second and 7 in the third, and added 3 more runs in the fourth. 13-0. Just inside. 2 balls and a strike.
His longest outing against Jansen's was 3 innings back in May. He is now up to 46 pitches trying to finish off this inning.
Yeah, he's about at the end of his rope.
Yeah, it looks like it. Pitches are up, which once were strikes. They're now going out of the strike zone.
Breaking ball, looped down the right field line. That's a fair ball. Nava comes in to score. Bautista goes over to the wall, and a fan grabbed the ball. And Cameron will stop at third, but the umpire at third base, Mark Carlson, is going to award Cameron home plate, ruling that he would have scored had not the interference taken place down the right field line.
Casey Jansen can't believe it, but that is the umpire's discretion. Cito Gaston's going to go out and try and get an explanation, but if it's in the umpire's discretion, thinking that he was going to score because the ball wasn't hit hard, and I think it's right. If he thinks that Carlson's going to Cameron's going to score, that's going to cost Casey Jansen a run. He's asking why.
And Casey Jansen's just been thrown out of the ball game. Mark Carlson, the third base umpire, threw him out. And Cito Gaston is just now trying to get Carlson's interpretation, and Larry Vanover will get the umpires to meet, and it's a judgment call to be sure. And the question is, how hard was Mike Cameron running in that situation? Yes. That's the big question for the umpire.
If he was conceding third base and just going to stop there,
then you shouldn't award him home plate. And that's Cito Gaston's argument, I'm sure. In this game, obviously, at that point, the 1 run came in to make it 14-0. Cameron, I'm sure, is not thinking about coming all the way around. So that's what the umpires are discussing as Cito Gaston watches the conference. Jeff Kellogg on the right is the first base umpire. He had the view down there, but he wouldn't know where the base runners are. Carlson, the third base umpire who made the call, has the best perspective.
And he is watching the runner. And they're going to send him back.
Yeah. And that's the right call, I believe, because Cameron in that situation is not running as if he would in a tie game or a 1-run game. You know, he's just going first to third with 2 outs. Well, Casey Jansen, because of that's been tossed out of the game. David Percy will pitch when we come back to Rogers Center. At 11, the interactive zone. There'll be player autographs, inflatables, face painting, and much more. Mark Zepchinski and Jesse Litch will be signing autographs from 11:40 to 12 p.m. at Gate 11, the interactive zone. After the game, kids 14 and under can run the bases. For more information and tickets, call 416-341-1234. Or you can log on to BlueJays.com. BOS@TOR.com/tickets. Or you can visit most Rogers Plus locations to pick up tickets for At My Best Junior Jays Saturday.
This is a ball that is hit down the line. It's fair. Now, once the fan touches the ball down the right field line, it's a dead ball. It's a double. But in the judgment of the third base umpire, if he feels like that runner at first base is going to score because that ball wasn't hit hard, he can allow him home plate. But after they talked about it a little bit, they felt in his judgment that he was not going to score. They send him back, and David Percy is now into the ballgame.
Well, Percy will be making his 13th appearance. As we mentioned, he had a 1-2-3 ninth inning, including a strikeout in last night's game against the Twins. Kevin Cash, 0 for 2, with runners at second and third. That rule, by the way, is a very important rule. Had that been a close game, home fan reaches over, grabs the ball to make sure that he doesn't score. So that's why that rule and that umpire judgment is important. But upon the review in the conference, they made the change. Kevin Cash lines it to left field. Fred Lewis, who's there, and lost track of how many outs, and I don't blame him. David Percy comes in to close out the sixth.
.107 first pitch. The first 10,000 fans will receive a Blue Jays sports bag courtesy of Mr. Sub. It'll be Daisuke Matsuzaka against Jesse Litch in that game. 416-341-1234, BlueJays.com, or most Rogers Plus locations will have tickets for that game.
Fred Lewis will start things off here in the sixth inning. You and I have both been in situations like this as players. And you come to the plate where the umpire said, you know, boys, better swing the bats.
Strike zone seems to get a little bit larger.
It should. And the breaking ball away, ball on the strike. And I've been in front of some of the greats, Mr. Shylock, the Hall of Fame umpire, and he'd be very honest. Say, listen, boys, this game has been decided a long time ago. Don't be taking a lot of pitches. Bouncing ball. Sheely steps on the bag, and Lewis is retired. And Sheely started out the Colorado Rockies organization, played a while in Kansas City, but the guy's kind of stuck in the minor leagues.
When he came up with Kansas City, I thought he was going to be a big power-hitting first baseman. Saw him go deep here at Rogers Center when he was with Kansas City, but it just hasn't worked out for him. Got a chance now.
John McDonald swings and drives it off the foul pole. Home runs on McDonald. His second of the season. And the Blue Jays are on the board. He's hit a couple of balls hard in the last couple of games he's played in.
Yeah, he certainly has. Johnny Mack with a long one, not waiting around. Sees the first pitch. Last season, he had his best year slugging percentage-wise, the most extra base hits, the most home runs. This time he drills the foul pole down the left field line for number 2.
Jose Bautista.
Johnny Mack not wasting any time. That a way to go up there. Be aggressive.
Unfortunately, not the situation where you can really relish the home run. Curveball for a strike. Big Bender catches the outside part of the plate. Lester and Cash having all sorts of problems getting their heads together here. It's 14-1, boys.
You don't have that many fingers.
You throw it, I'll catch it. I can remember the late Thurman Munson in situations like this. Wouldn't even give a sign. Just wave the pitcher. Come on, let's go. Throw it. Did that with Goose all the time in save situations.
He'd challenge you with the heater, right? Better not cross him up with that slider.
Bautista's brigade out in center field with their support of the home run leader in the big leagues on his way to the All-Star game. Bouncing ball off the glove of Lester. Back play for Patterson. Not in time. Base hit for Jose Bautista.
Even though it's 14-1 as a hitter, you're still smelling base hits. You're facing a very tough pitcher in John Lester. When you get a chance, you want to take advantage of it. Dwayne Wise is going to come in now and give Bautista the rest of the night off. Gets the ball back to the mound, and it ricochets to the left of Patterson. Bautista hustling all the way, wanting a base hit, and he is rewarded with that hustle.
Dwayne Wise takes over as the pinch runner at first. One out. Vernon Wells hits it to third. Beltre to second for one. Back to first, not in time. Vernon Wells keeps the inning alive.
Beltre is a very good third baseman. Gets rid of this ball quickly. Gives Patterson a good high throw. Wells hustling all the way. Does not get doubled up.
John Buck has a hit in 2 at-bats tonight. Got the first hit off John Lester with 2 outs in the fourth. John Buck's going to the All-Star game for the first time. A well-deserved trip to Anaheim. And a terrific first half to his season. And we have talked about it often. I just really believe his catching has improved 100% from the start of the season.
His game calling, taking control of the game, hitting. His home runs and RBIs, his production, some of the best by a catcher in the American League. There are a few first-time All-Stars playing in this series. for both of these teams.
Bautista and Buck going to their first All-Star game for the Blue Jays. The Red Sox had 6 players selected to play in the All-Star game. Adrian Beltre, John Lester, Victor Martinez, Buchholz, Pedroia, and Ortiz.
Beltre, Buchholz, and Lester, their first.
Long drive left field. Nava on the warning track at the wall. Off the wall. Vernon Wells coming around third. He'll score. John Buck will stop at second with the long double. Just missed the home run.
Second hit of the night for John Buck, and he almost takes John Lester, his fellow All-Star, first-timer, deep. They try to go inside. It hangs out over the middle of the plate. Nava gets back there, but just misjudges it. Sails on him a little bit. Catchable ball, but Buck will take it for his 15th double, his 41st RBI.
Aaron Hill lined out to the shortstop to end the 4th inning. He's 0 for 2 tonight. Blue Jays now with 4 hits. Buck has 2 of them. Bouncing ball to third. Beltre across the diamond to retire Aaron Hill, but the Blue Jays put a couple of runs on the board. John McDonald's second home run of the season. But the Red Sox have a commanding lead.
From Anaheim, 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific, starting time for both on all of our Sportsnet channels. Jamie Campbell and Greg Zahn will be there to provide all of the interviews and the pregame.
It's always a great event, the All-Star Game, and that home run contest is Big Papi for the Red Sox. David Ortiz has committed to participate in the home run derby. Ortiz has participated in the derby each year from 04, 05, and 06. Also the American League, Miguel Cabrera and Vernon Wells, they've committed to participate in the home run contest.
Over the National League, Corey Hart from Milwaukee, said he's going to participate. Matt Holliday and Hanley Ramirez. Okay, now we know the 6 guys who are going to be in it. Do you have a favorite? I'll let you pick first.
Miguel Cabrera.
You want him? Mm-hmm. Okay. That's who I wanted.
I got to pick first.
I'll take Big Poppy. All right?
Yeah, Big Poppy. You know, people don't understand how demanding it is. You take a lot of swings.
Yeah.
And everybody's talking about Abreu having a long, successful home run contest and then really falling off.
Josh Hamilton.
Josh Hamilton had that long run in New York. It takes a lot of time and a lot of swings and a lot of effort. Just think the effort it would take me to hit one of those contests. Encarnacion, Patterson can run. Got in time.
Trying to make an impression on your manager. You're with a new ball club. Eric Patterson gets down that line and is called safe at first base, an infield single. That one is too close to call.
Yeah, bang, bang play. A little closer than I thought. Infield hit. Darnell McDonald seems to enjoy his trips to Toronto. Had a good series the first time we saw him back in April. Big swing and a miss. Well, a lot of these guys that the Red Sox saw in the spring thinking, well, we've got a little depth down in Pawtucket, and in case something happens, they didn't expect them all to come up at the same time.
Theo Epstein, the general manager of the Red Sox, says, you know, we need at least eight starting pitchers because of the problems that happened during the season. Boy, was he ever right. He said that before spring training.
Yeah, and you'd like to have 8 major league pitchers.
Yeah, 5 here and 3 down in AAA just in case.
Good curveball, and McDonald goes down swinging. First out of the 7th.
David Percy with that big arm has been pitching some pretty good ball. Really fools McDonald for the strikeout.
I talked to Percy today about how well he's done here in the bullpen, and I asked him what's different. He said, this year, I'm not trying to make perfect pitches to everybody. I realize I've got great defense behind me. I'm going to pitch ahead, and I'm going to challenge the hitters to put it in play. And he's been very effective.
I think young pitchers coming out of the bullpen, it's a great way to start your career. Manager can control where you're going to pitch. He can set you up against left-handers if you're a left-handed starter. They can control how many innings and pitches. Put you in good positions to be successful.
Yeah. And then when you do have a good outing, he can pull you out and give you that real positive reinforcement.
Blue Jays have done that forever.
I remember a young, slightly built left-hander named Jimmy Key that started out in the bullpen and pitched so well for us in 1984. Had 10 saves pitching out of the bullpen in 84. And you could, like you say, you could hand-pick the situations. Right. Look at the lineup, see where you are in the lineup. So, you know, got a couple of lefties coming up next inning. Maybe he gets those 2 guys out. Quick right-handed hitter, get him out, and then we can get him out of the game.
And then you get little drips and drabs of him. People don't get to see him for 3 innings or 4 innings. He can gain confidence. He can gain experience. David Wells pitched out of the bullpen when he first came up.
Todd Stottlemyre, David Wells, Al Leiter. They were all in the bullpen for the World Series team. Pat Henkin started out his career pitching out of the bullpen. Won the Cy Young in '96. But I like the fact that you can control their outings.
Who they're going to be facing and where.
And I think the Blue Jays are getting to the point where they're going to have a number of good pitchers knocking on the door. So you can have some of those younger pitchers pitch in the bullpen. And when they develop, and it doesn't mean they always have to pitch there.
No.
Percy's been a starter in the past. Ortiz pops it back, and it's going to drift back into the seats.
How about a Kyle Drabek when he comes up here? If he comes up here at the end of the year, maybe pitch him out of the bullpen.
I don't know if he's going to come up here at the end of the year.
True.
You know, he's having a good year at Double-A and probably going to pitch 170 innings in Double-A. Send him home. Send him get rest.
Rest him up for next year.
Make him hungry. I think we'd know what kind of makeup he's got and the pedigree he has.
Yeah,
he's not like he's going to be intimidated. And it pop back out of play.
The newness of coming to the big leagues, nothing for him because
he's been around it his whole life. Yeah.
So that's another thing that they do in September. They reward pitchers and give them to get their feet wet at the big league level to show them what it's like.
Just depends on what kind of situation you're in. Get to the end of the season and want to see where you are with pitchers. Trying to find out what we got here. Saying what kind of pitchers you have, how are you going to build your rotation and your bullpen down the road. Ortiz takes the walk. A one-out walk here in the 7th inning.
And pitching rotations and staffs, they're always changing, aren't they?
Yeah.
You got guys, free agents, arbitration, non-tenders. I mean, they're always coming and going.
Performance.
Yeah, well,
you look back at 2007 in Tampa Bay Rays and 2008 in the World Series team. And they had 5 starting pitchers, and they have 2 new starting pitchers in the rotation.
And that was just 2 years ago.
Yep. Yep. Changes dramatically. Ryan Shealy, that's for a second time here tonight. He grounded to second his first time up. Infield single and a one-out walk. Red Sox have runners at first and second. Travis Snider had another big night in Double-A last night. Second time in 3 games he had 4 hits and 5 at-bats. That's great news. He's played 3 games in the outfield in Double-A. So you would expect, if he doesn't have any kind of setbacks, that we might see Travis Snider after the All-Star break. Snider, as I mentioned, just 3 games in Double-A. 8 for 14. 3 doubles. He's driven in a couple. And he's played 3 games in the outfield. That's good news.
Stay hot. And I like the idea that he's in Double-A as opposed to Triple-A. Double-A, there's a lot harder throwers. They come right after you. And that's one thing that Cito Gaston has always said about the minor leagues. They just don't have the consistent hard throwers in AAA.
Popped up. That will get back into the camera bag. Check in with Sam Cosentino.
Well, Buxito Gaston had interesting things to say about Snider today. He did miss a couple of games in A-ball Dunedin because of the rain. Part of the reason why he was moved to Double-A. They also said that their original timetable for Snider wasn't to come back immediately following the break, but some undetermined time thereafter. So there is a chance that as soon as the break ends, you may not see Snider. Yet Cito Gaston and Alex Anthopoulos will have that discussion before the break and have their plan coming out of it.
Yeah, there's a few opportunities to make some adjustments with the All-Star break. Ryan Shealy strikes out. Second strikeout of the inning for David Percy.
Challenge those hitters, and that's what Percy's going to do against Shealy. Breaking ball down and in. If he is healthy, Travis Snider, wouldn't Baltimore be the best place to start him out after the All-Star break? Great hitters ballpark, a lot of right-handed starters.
Yep.
If he's healthy.
That is something they'll decide then. And that's the one thing that I learned as a manager. Don't make any decisions till you have to. You never know what'll change. Sean Markham is supposed to throw a bullpen here on Saturday, maybe play some catch over the All-Star break, but they expect him to take a spot in the 5-man rotation when he comes back. So that's good news. Adrian Beltre has the count in his favor. 2 balls and no strikes. Seems like it's been that way to Beltre all night long.
Yeah, and he hasn't missed either. He's been on base 3 times. Last time up, hit a ball hard to right field. Blue Jays retired him for the first time. 7th inning, and this is his 5th at bat.
There's a fastball for a strike. Inside, 3-1.
He's in the midst of a 3-for-22 slump, but he is still hitting coming into this game. 334. Now he has jumped that up to 338. Tops American League third baseman in on base percentage and slugging percentage, and that's why he's going to go to his first All-Star game.
Allen, he gets a walk. 2 walks in the inning issued by David Percy. That'll load the bases. The Red Sox have hit with the bases loaded all night long. And Daniel Nava, we mentioned Nava hit a grand slam in his first major league at bat. Gets a chance to hit with the bases loaded here. He's not hit a home run after that first at bat. He now has had 70 at bats and hasn't homered since. Pops it into right. Dwayne Wise in defensively there and makes the grab. David Percy loads the bases but gets out of it. Tonight after 6 good innings.
A couple of walks in the first 2 innings for Lester, but he works now 6 innings for his 14th straight start, where he'll give Terry Francona innings and numbers. 6 strikeouts, all of those coming in just 2 innings, 4 hits. He was touched up by a home run by John McDonald, so he is now out of the ball game. Next time we'll see him is in Anaheim on Tuesday in the All-Star game. John Lester gives way to Robert Manuel.
Robert Manuel was claimed off waivers from Seattle in November in the offseason. He was called up and made his Sox debut on July 3rd against the Orioles. Was tagged for a 2-run home run off the bat of Jake Fox. Lyle Overbay officially 0 for 1.
funny again, you know how it works in baseball. Here's a pitcher, Manuel, who came to spring training with the Red Sox as a non-roster invitee. Made an impression on the staff of the Boston Red Sox, went down to AAA, pitched well, and with all the injuries, Manny Del Carmen out of the bullpen is on the disabled list. Gets his chance here, and he's making the most of it.
And cut fastball fouled off by Overbait. And managers and coaches, they put these guys into a spring training game, non-roster invitee, make sure they get their work in, and you see him a couple innings, you go, wow, not rattled, throws strikes, seems to have good assortment of pitches. All the while understanding he's got no chance to make your club.
Unless something happens, an injury like that, but that's your chance whenever you get a chance in spring training. Even if you're one of those A-ball call-ups that they have to finish out rosters at the end of spring training.
And a high pop fly into center field. Mike Cameron comes on and makes the catch. Commentator clothing provided in part by Z Zenia. Statistical information provided by Stats Inc. Music provided by Universal Canada. Edwin Encarnacion swings at the first pitch and pops it a mile high, but that's going to get back. Kevin Cash, the catcher, never saw it off the bat and kind of panicked thinking it was going to be playable. Two balls and a strike. 14-2 the Red Sox, and they had a big 7-run third inning. 7 runs on just 4 hits.
The way John Lester was throwing and the way he has thrown in the past, the second inning might have been enough. Gave up 3 runs to the Red Sox.
5 ball center field. 2 outs. Sam Cosentino.
The MLB on Sportsnet continues tonight with the New York Yankees in Seattle to face the Mariners in Game 2 of their 4-game series, 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific on Sportsnet Pacific.
Lots of baseball. Yankees have won 6 in a row. Tampa Bay has won 6 in a row. They have separated themselves from the rest of the pack. Tampa Bay 2 games back of the Yankees, 3 ahead of the Red Sox at the start of play.
We were talking about Cliff Lee earlier, and Tampa Bay was mentioned for Cliff Lee. Now, what Texas did in going out and getting Lee, does that make Tampa go out and try and pick up someone for their pitching?
Well, Tampa's got a couple of prospects, Jake McGee and Jeremy Hellickson, in the minor leagues, and Wade Davis hasn't been pitching all that well, and there's been some talk that they'll dip down into the minors. Jose Molina has hit a long drive to left field. Now at the wall. Home run, Molina. Jose Molina's second home run in as many nights. Goes deep off of Robert Madrill.
Home runs come in bunches. A sinker ball pitcher who can't get the sinker down. That one right in the wheelhouse of big Jose Molina. Homered in the same spot in last night's game, number 2. Right over the bullpen.
Again, a 2-homer night. That's the 6th straight game the Blue Jays have had multi-home runs in a game. They have now tied the second longest home run streak. Multiple home runs in 6 straight games. The Blue Jays record is 8. And Lewis fouls it back. The Blue Jays had 8 games with multiple home runs back in 2000. Over that 8-game stretch, they hit 22 home runs. With Molina's home run, now they have a 6-game stretch of multiple home runs. And they have hit 17 home runs in those 6 games.
And that is the year 2000, when that club had 147 home runs at the All-Star break. Big numbers.
Popped up. Kevin Cash will not have a play on it. 147 home runs at the All-Star break, and that was in 2000. They had 8 players that year with 15 or more home runs. Delgado and Tony Batista had 41 home runs apiece. Brad Fulmer had 32, and Jose Cruz Jr. had 31. Powerful team.
Yeah.
Raul Mondesi had 24. Shannon Stewart had 21. Darren Fletcher had 20. The catcher.
That was the team you took over for, right? Lots of power in that lineup.
That's popped out of play. Yeah, those same players. Alex Gonzalez had 15 home runs. The previous Alex Gonzalez that played shortstop for the Blue Jays.
8 players with 15 or more home runs. Wow.
2006 Jays had 10 players with 10 or more home runs. Fred Lewis gets a walk. We have 2 outs here in the 7th. John McDonald homered in his last at bat. His 2nd home run of the season. Pops this one up on the infield. Bill Hall, the shortstop, is calling for it and makes the catch. There's a score run on Jose Molina's 2nd home run of the year. Tough night for the home team. Boston leads at 14-3. Blue Jays hit 2 more home runs tonight, but they have been out homered by the Red Sox 4-2. Mike Cameron's had a big night. 3 hits and a walk. He's driven in 3 and scored 3. He's homered his 3rd home run. A ball and 2 strikes. David Percy facing Cameron for the first time. There are the numbers for Mike Cameron. Big night offensively. I mentioned that Percy, working out of the bullpen, has been much more aggressive and not really trying to be real fine with his pitches, using that fastball and slider equally well. Ground ball. John McDonald is short. Cameron's retired, first time tonight.
I think you have to be aggressive. You know, with his stuff, with his arm, he can throw it 94, 95 miles an hour. Why would you want to go out there and nitpick and just nibble on the corner? Go out there with your good stuff. You don't have to throw perfect pitches when you throw 94, 95 miles an hour.
Something he said he's learned this year, pitching out of the bullpen. He can be aggressive. Bill Hall, he's homered tonight, his 7th of the season. There's a good fastball. In that situation, Hall's looking fastball. Percy throws a fastball. Every pitch you throw doesn't get hit.
Yeah, he threw it right by him, too. He was a little tardy. I think you can do that also when you take your 4 pitchers that you have and eliminate 2 of them. You can be aggressive with everything that you have. You throw the fastball, breaking ball, and you just throw it with everything you have. Throw it in a good spot.
That's popped up into right field. Wise has a long run. He's not going to get there. Bounces in front of him. Bill Hall's going to second. And he's in there with the slide. Dwayne Wise just didn't have a chance to make a play on that. Ball was flared down the right field line. He's got great speed, but Hall has his 3rd hit of the night, 2nd double.
He was playing him in the gap in right center field. We all know what Hall did earlier in the game, hitting a home run to right field. This one, inside out swing, and it's fading fast in right field. Wise plays it on one bounce. Still has a shot at second base, but Hall hustles it in there for his 3rd hit, 2nd double of the night. Had a good evening.
Kevin Cash moves back from the inside fastball. Bouncing ball to 3rd. Big hop for Encarnacion. Cash is retired. Check in with Sam Cosentino.
How about the series continues tomorrow, Saturday, July 10th at 1:07 p.m. John Lackey and Brandon Morrow. For tickets, call 416-341-1234, bluejays.com/tickets, or most Rogers Plus locations. The second last game before the break tomorrow against the Red Sox.
Big John Lackey, 9-4. And a big pickup for the Red Sox. He'll make his 18th start of the season. Josh Beckett just starting his rehab in the minor leagues. Hopeful of getting him back at some point in the second half. A ball on his strike. Eric Patterson, since coming into the game, 1 for 2, had an infield single to 3rd base. Great speed out of the box. Good fastball. Patterson late on a fastball up to 94 miles an hour.
And it looks like the batters have trouble picking it up. He's got a herky-jerky type of delivery. Hides the ball well. And it looks like that ball is right on top of you. Well, you see a lot of the batters really laid on his fastball.
Checked his swing on the breaking ball. Didn't go after it.
Isn't that funny? He's with Oakland. He swings at that ball. He comes over to Boston here. He's more patient. He makes the pitcher work. Hit just over 200 while he was a member with Oakland, but he looks like a different type of hitter now. Maybe all those good hitters are rubbing off on him.
There's a good pitch down and away. Percy gets the strikeout. His third strikeout since coming into the game, and he locates the fastball in a perfect spot down and away.
His dad, Steve, in there with Aaron Hill. He had a private hitting lesson with Hill today as part of our broadcast auction going back in April. The Heimbeckers bid $6,300 for this private lesson. Aaron Hill gave him a bat, autographed jerseys, balls. The kid hit 8 to 10 home runs and even brought his own money ball, specially colored like the home run derby. Hit that one out as well. Aaron Hill was great, very gracious, and the Heimbeckers very pleased to have their 4-year-old Callum involved in this charitable endeavor.
Aaron Hill did a great job with that young man. He was out there having a ball, had an autographed jersey on, had his bat and glove, and even had some Blue Jays socks on. He had a good time in the old batting cage. Aaron Hill did a great job with the kid to make him feel at home and part of the ball club.
That's one of the neater things that the Blue Jays do early in the season. We had that auction. Get a chance to go into the clubhouse, be a Blue Jay for a day.
Dwayne Wise lifts it to right field, and McDonald gets to the wall, and it is short of the wall. He makes the grab. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. Vernon Wells takes the first pitch strike. Robert Manuel working in his second inning of relief. John Lester went 6 innings. Well, the Blue Jays just 4 hits and a couple of runs. Gave up a solo home run to John McDonald in the 6th, but the outcome of the game had been determined well before that. Whipped into left field. Now they can't cut it off. Vernon Wells around first, headed for second. Vernon Wells with a ringing double to the gap in left center. His 26th double of the season.
You see him starting to take this pitch, slider, and just rip it into the gap. You know he is ready to take off on a hot streak. Doubled on Wednesday off the top of the wall for what turned out to be the game winner.
Did you ever worry about the All-Star break robbing you of some momentum? You played every day, and you get to that All-Star break.
No.
Just wanted to break, wanted to rest, recharge your batteries.
You know how it is when you play every day.
No. Never did. That's why I'm asking you.
You're being generous, but I know you did early in your career. Minor leagues?
Minor leagues.
Early in your career?
Way long time.
Okay. But you get to the All-Star break, and you know playing baseball how it's not so much physical, but mental. Day in and day out doing the same thing. Batting practice, fly balls, running the bases, the travel, everything. Whenever you get a chance for one day, just one day, when you get into this part of the season, it really clears your mind, makes you feel so much better. And the Blue Jays this year get 4 days off.
It's like a month-long vacation when you're playing every day to have that long a break, and everybody will recharge their batteries a bit.
Your legs feel fresher. You just.
John Buck flies it to center field. Mike Cameron back on the warning track. He'll make the catch. Vernon Wells tags up at second and goes over to third. John Buck's been swinging the bat well all night long. A couple of hits tonight.
His homestand, he has hit some balls hard to center field. Against Minnesota, drove the center fielder a couple of times back to the warning track. That time does the same thing.
Now there's a hat. A Red Sox fan. Got all the team's caps on it. How cool is that? Little tiny baseball helmets. Aaron Hill 0 for 3. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Back to the mound. Manuel. Hill's retired. Vernon Wells gets a 1-out double, but he is stranded on base. We'll go to the 9th inning. It's all Red Sox.
got to hold the other team down. It was already 1-0 in the second inning, and tonight play the game. Bill Hall with a long home run to right field. That knocked in 2 more runs that made it 3-0. And John Lester did the rest.
John Lester's been on a roll, and Bill Hall gave him that early cushion. Mike Cameron has had a big night at the plate as well. The Red Sox have pounded out 14 runs on 14 hits here tonight. They certainly don't look like a team that's lost 4 in a row.
No. Went down to Tampa and got swept. Jason Frazier into the ball game for the 37th time, trying to finish this one up. There are his numbers. 2-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio. First batter he will face is Darnell McDonald.
Frazier is the 5th Blue Jays pitcher to work here tonight. McDonald had both of his hits in the 3rd inning. Scored a run, had an RBI, and 2 hits in the 3rd.
His career high is 3 hits. He might not get a chance here, being ahead 3-0.
Three balls and a strike. Frazier working the 9th inning here. Leadoff walk. Let's check in with Sam Cosentino.
Well, Buck, the At Bat 2010 app. You can watch your the Jays on your BlackBerry, your iPhone, or your iPod Touch. Streaming play-by-play, video highlights available, all on your personal handheld device. You can visit BlueJays.com for more details on the 2010 At Bat app.
Nobody out here in the 9th inning. David Ortiz has been held hitless here tonight. There's a strike. Ball in the dirt. No one's going to advance at this point of the game. Nobody's holding McDonald on.
We were talking earlier about the All-Star break, and you were asking, do you like taking those days off if you are going well?
Knocked down by Frazier. Goes to first base. Now they've got the base runner in a rundown on McDonald, and he is tagged out. So Frazier initiates the double play on the hot shot comebacker to the mound. Ortiz hit a hard one hopper back to the mound. Jason Frazier knocked it down and then wisely went to first base initially to get Ortiz out.
Picks it up, and the runner, McDonald, is caught in no man's land. They get the out over there at first base, and by the time they run him down, Lyle Overbay applies the tag for the second out. Score that 1-3-6-3.
Two outs now for Ryan Sheely. Sheely batting for a 3rd time tonight.
Finish that point. There are some players, though, that struggle in the first half, and they can't wait for the All-Star break to get there. Really clear their minds.
Chance to regroup and look forward to a fresh start in the second half. Sheely's popped up. Jason Frazier on 10 pitches gets out of the ninth.
Started in Double-A. Made the All-Star team while he was there at Portland. Went up to Pawtucket and then finished up the season with the Red Sox. Got in 3 games for him last year.
Well, Overbay late on the first pitch, fouls it back. Richardson made his season debut this year on the 13th of June against the Phillies. Came out in relief for Tim Wakefield. Worked out of the bullpen in Pawtucket. 2-0 with a save in 22 games before his call-up.
Blue Jays got to look at him last year. In fact, he made his big league debut against Toronto. Last September the 28th, an inning and a third, shutout innings.
Kind of similar to David Percy. Big, strong, left-handed pitcher. Creates a good downhill angle.
Early in his career in the minor leagues, he was a starter for the Red Sox. But starting last year, they moved him into the bullpen and has not started a game since 2008.
Right back over the mound into center. Lyle Overbay picks up his first hit of the night, a leadoff single here in the ninth. It is hard to be a major league starter. You have to have stamina. First, you have to have command of 3 pitches. You have to have an understanding of the game, how to field your position, hold the base runners, understand how to change midstream. To be a big-time starting pitcher, you have to be quite an athlete in every sense of the word.
That's why they're so hard to come by and why they cost a lot if you're going to trade for them. They cost a lot if you're going to sign them as free agents. They get the big bucks. There's just not a whole lot of guys who just are dominant year in and year out.
But it really takes the full package to be dominant. A guy like John Lester commands a strike zone, doesn't walk anybody, keeps the ball in the ballpark, has 4 pitches, 2 kinds of fastballs, controls the running game, fields his position. And he's 6'4" and weighs 245. I mean, that's quite an athlete.
That's why you lock him up, and you lock him up early.
Hot shot to third. Beltre to second for 1. Patterson to first. Double play. Carnacion hit it hard, but right at the former Gold Glover Adrian Beltre at third, and he starts the 5-4-3 double play.
Never panics as a third baseman. You got to be very quick. He catches the ball upright position, and he knows that this one's going to go around the diamond. Just make a good throw, and he does. Beltre starts it. Patterson's right in the middle of it, and Shealy finishes it off.
Jose Molina hit his second home run of the season in the 7th inning. There's a strike. A ball and a strike to Molina. Batting with 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th. Two balls and a strike. Boston Red Sox jumped out early, 3 runs in the second, added 7 in the third, and 3 more in the fourth. Jumped on the Blue Jays right out of the box. Three balls and a strike to Jose Molina tonight, the DH.
That's the 7th time in his career that he's been a DH. And he homered.
A 2-out walk. Let's check in with Sam Cosentino.
The MLB and Sportsnet continues tonight, right after this game, with the New York Yankees in Seattle to face the Mariners in a Game 2 of their 4-game series. 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific on Sportsnet Pacific. That's right, it's on the Sportsnet Pacific channel beginning at 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific.
Phil Hughes, the scheduled pitcher for the Yankees, and Cliff Lee. Oops. Cliff Lee was traded to the Texas Rangers. He will not be pitching against the Yankees tonight. Yankees had kind of hoped he might be pitching for them. They had made a proposed deal to Seattle. Seattle felt it wasn't to their liking. A lot of teams were involved late. Minnesota, probably the Mets, Tampa Bay.
Cincinnati, I heard. Possibly Philadelphia. Back to Philadelphia. Wouldn't that be ironic? That's not happening.
Well, he can change your fortunes, and no question about it. You know what he can do in the postseason. We saw that last year. Same with, how about that? Cleveland's had two of the most influential pitchers over the last several seasons, CC Sabathia and Cliff Lee. Bouncing ball to second. Patterson backs up. Fred Lewis is called out at first to end the ball game. Boston Red Sox did a number on Blue Jays in the first game. Beltry had a big night. 14-3. The Red Sox win it. John Lester improves to 11-3.